Listen to me. I'm not a preacher. I'm a Christian, but I'm not a pastor. I ain't even really that good a Christian. You understand? To tell you the truth, I'm an entry-level Christian. You know, I've been a Christian a long time, but I'm an entry-level Christian. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably like a 2.5 or something. But God loves me the way I am. Now, I'm constantly trying to improve myself, but I got news for you. God loves you right where you at. Right where you at right now. And I'm going to just tell you a little something. All of you, you're in the process right now. You're in the process of becoming what God wants you to be. See, the reason you wake up every day, the reason you keep waking up is because God ain't through with you yet. If God was through with you, you wouldn't wake up no more. But he keeps waking you up because he still has something for you that you've yet to receive. But you have to start living your life in expectation. You have got to start expecting great things to happen for you in order for it to happen. It is the law of attraction. It is real. It is nothing fake about it. The Bible says a man is as he thinketh. If you live your life in expectations, that's what happens to you. If you live your life in despair, that's what happens to you. If you say all men are dogs, you're going to meet every last one of them. I'll never be rich. You won't. You won't. The moment you change the frequency that your tower emits, the moment you change that frequency, different things come back to you. I'm telling you this how it works. I'm going to just say this fast as I can. I'm going to let you go. If you change your attitude, you change your altitude. Listen, the reason you came to this show today was to be entertained. But a lot of y'all came to this show, and I ain't because you needed to hear this. All I am is a piece of conduit. I'm a piece of pipe. God just tell me what to say. I don't pick what I'm going to say at the end of the show. God just tell me what to say. Somebody in here needed to hear this. Somebody, you just needed that little moment, man, to get you to thinking a little bit differently so you can get the life God got for you. God wants to show you off. He wants people that he can use as an example and say, hey, this is what I do for people. If you call on me and you believe in me, this is what I do for people. I raised my hand a long time ago. Use me. Show them how you take an old hoodlum. Tell them how you take a street boy. Show how you can take somebody ain't got no education. Take me. Take somebody that don't even talk that good. Take somebody who flunked out of school, on his third marriage, lost everything, lived in a car for 3 years. Take me and show somebody what you can do through me. Guess what he did? He picked me up. He put me in a world I knew nothing about. God will do the same thing for you. Change your attitude, you change your altitude.
You know, actor is they have this sense of certainty, and it isn't born. It's something that you make as a habit. You drill it into yourself. I sure as heck didn't have that sense of certainty growing up, not even close. And what I found myself doing early on is I felt so uncertain I couldn't get myself to do anything. So I developed these rituals. This ritual is certain. I'm going to runs, and on the run, even though I didn't feel like it, these incantations where I would say out loud over and over again, you know, God's wealth is circulating in my life. His wealth flows to me in avalanches of abundance. All my needs, desires, and goals are met instantaneously by infinite intelligence. I'm one with God, and God is everything. And I would say that over and over and over for 30 minutes. Just crazy. And I would envision it, God circulating, His wealth circulating my life, and I'd see the wealth of love and friendship and impact and growth and economics and all these things, physical fitness and all that. I could see this wealth of abundance flowing, oceans of it, into my life as I went and did these things. If you envision something clearly enough and you bring certainty to it over and over again, if you engage your physical body in a simple ritual, it can be as little as 10 minutes a day. I call it my hour of power, or 15 minutes to be fulfilled. And all you do is you take 5 minutes, and in those first 5 minutes, you get yourself moving, and you get yourself in a state of certainty in the way you move and the way you breathe. You focus on what you're excited about in your life. You focus on create what you want to bring to your children, what you want to bring to the world. It changes your state. Most people do the opposite of that, right? they get the product or they think about doing it, and what do they envision?
It not working.
That's right. So they envision it not working. As soon as they envision it not working, they feel uncertain. As soon as they feel uncertain, how much potential they have? Little, if anything. And so they send back your product, and they didn't listen to the damn thing. You know? And guess what? What does that do, by the way? They make that as another lousy result in their life. I didn't even follow through on that. And they believe even less. This process is the Holy Grail. It's where the whole game changes. And anybody can do it, and they can do it in a few minutes. And if they do it a few minutes each day, then they get a different life. They do it a few minutes one time, their life changes for the day. We're defined by our rituals. Everybody's got rituals, certain things they do every day. And what we three have in common, and anybody that I know of who has a life that they're living that was once a vision, is we saw it again and again and again, even when it didn't work, even when you lost 100 grand, even when I'm working as a janitor, there was something we would not give up on. If somebody watching wants to change their life, they got to decide what they won't give up on, and then put themselves in the state of momentum by a couple little rituals.
And I think especially when it comes to anything related to making money, like making money products or promises or courses, people are so inundated with scams and all this garbage, true garbage, that, you know, their natural thinking is that they're so skeptical. It's like they fall into the conditioning of, well, if anything's ever going to work, that thing has to prove it to me before I believe anything. So when they go to approach the thing to make more money with, they're like, well, I'm starting at zero, and this thing has to prove to me that it has any potential at all before I believe that it will. Don't you agree with that's the case?
Unfortunately, it's the case, but here's the truth. If somebody says to me, in my business, even more, because a lot of people think I'm a motivator. I hate that term. That's never been what I've done. I do believe in energy, and I'm passionate. You know, they see 10,000 people in the room rocking, they go, oh, he's motivating them. I believe in peak state. You get a top athlete, you get in a concert, and you get in state, right? The problem is, to defend themselves so they won't be disappointed again, they lower their expectations. So someone will say to me, well, I'm skeptical or I'm pessimistic. And my response to them is, no, man, you're gutless. It takes no guts to be skeptical. You don't have to have any capacity to be a critic. And now with the web, you don't even have to own that you're the one being the critic. You can burn somebody and, you know, anonymously, right? I said, you know what? It takes guts to believe. And if you think something's going to do it for you without you putting your guts on the line, you might as well forget it right now. So this idea that I'm skeptical or they got to prove it to me, it's the biggest lie. What that really is your fear talking. You're so scared of failing, you don't even want to get your hopes up. And if you don't get your hopes up, you might say, well, what if they get their hopes up and somebody gets disappointed? How many disappointments have we experienced in our business careers and in our lives? The difference is some people take disappointment and let it destroy them. Other people take disappointment and let it drive them. And you get to choose.
I hate plan B. When you start doubting yourself, that's very dangerous. Because now what you're basically saying is that if my plan doesn't work, I have a fallback plan. I have a plan B.
And that's the key, because it means that we tried. It means that we got up. It means that we cured our fear by taking action over and over and over. What will come, and whatever it is, I'm going to learn from that.
You guys remember, if you want to be successful, learn from the other people's mistakes. Don't learn from the successful stories.
I need you to be self-aware. So I need you to remember that you are always learning. In life, you are always learning. And I need you to believe in yourself.
Figure out who you are. Don't apologize for who you are. And then become even greater than you naturally are at what you are.
Once you understand that every time you lose is an opportunity for you to not only learn that lesson, but take it a +1 step past the lesson, you'll start to appreciate those lessons.
In order to change behavior, design it in any meaningful way, you need to be aware of it first. But usually when people become aware of their habits or think about them, you know, like you might smoke or bite your nails or something on autopilot, but then if you start to think about it, well, you feel guilty about it. You know, you start to judge yourself. As soon as you start to judge yourself, then you're not in a great position to change, because what ends up happening a lot of the time, this has happened actually with a couple of campaigns that have tried to scare smokers into not smoking by showing them pictures of blackened lungs, or scare obese people into not eating as much by talking about the detriments of being overweight. what happens is people get really anxious and stressed. They feel guilty and worried, and then they resort to their preferred habit for dealing with that, which means they end up smoking more, or eating more, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I think there is a benefit to looking at it in an unemotional, forensic way. Mm-hmm. And one way to do that is to say there are no good or bad habits. There are just behaviors that serve you in a particular way, and the goal is to try to find a behavior that serves you in a better way.
My friend Byron Katie says that to believe that you need what you don't have is the definition of insanity. To believe that you need what you don't have, because you're already here, so you've already proven that you don't need it. So to go around believing that I can't be happy, fulfilled, whatever it is, unless I get the stuff that I don't already have, it's a complete and total illusion. It's a thought that isn't even true. There's no truth to it whatsoever. You don't need anything. And when you get that, the irony is you're no longer attached. Your total life is just about living those virtues. How can I serve? How can I be sincere? How can I be gentle? How can I be supportive? And thinking like that. And that's how I think now. And because of that, I'm in meaning. And being in meaning, the times that I was in ambition, is delivering more and more and more and more of what I wanted so much then. And now that I'm not attached to it, it's like I can just be like the cat. I can just go about my business and just let it follow after me wherever I go. So what I say to people who really want to access the transition from ambition to meaning, if they really want to access it, is to get your thoughts off of yourself. I do it on the radio every Monday, but it's like all my questions, all the questions are about why can't I manifest this, why can't I have that, this isn't working, and so on. And my response back to them all the time, over and over again, is take what it is that you would really like to attract into your life, whatever it is, whether it's wealth, a job, money, a nice watch, a new car, whatever it is, and want it more for somebody else than you want it for yourself. Just want it more. Just think about that and think about how much joy it would give you to be able to put your attention on that. And just keep your thoughts on that. Take your thoughts off of yourself and start living the 4 virtues. Start being sincere, start being supportive, start having this reverence for their life and so on. And just shift off of what's in it for me, and how much am I going to get, and why isn't it here fast enough, and why is theirs shinier than mine, and so on. Off of that, and begin to project that, and do that. I don't care whether you're a school teacher. I don't care if you're a dental hygienist, or if you're a carpenter, or whatever it is out there that you are doing. If you can take your attention, if you want the door to open, to meaning, then the only way that door is going to open is if you understand that you have to leave your attachment to this grossly world of the material things and what's in it for me and how much am I getting, and shift your energy, your thoughts onto how may I offer, how may I serve.
I'm wondering today who's watching, who's facing real disappointment, real pain, real discouragement, real confusion, real hurt, real wondering, when is my purpose going to pick up? When am I going to actually discover why on earth I'm here?
Your values in life determine your stress, determine your success, and determine your salvation. Unclear values cause confusion. They cause confusion in your life. Conflicting values in your life cause tension. Unclear cause confusion. Conflicting values cause tension. False values create deception. And the wrong values create dysfunction.
A bad attitude makes you unattractive. It overrides what's on the outside. It's important to look good, to develop your skills, to get an education, but it's even more important to keep a good attitude.
like attracts like. You have to understand, you are a magnet. Whatever you are, that's what you draw to you. If you're negative, you're going to draw negativity. You're positive, you draw positive. You're a kind person, more people are kind to you. So you're like a magnet, you know, and you got to understand something about like attracts like. If you see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
Live like a warrior so you can die like a legend. Let us fight and fight and don't surrender. Gotta fight. Gotta live like a warrior. You gotta be in fight mode. Warriors are vigilant. My favorite book says, watch as well as pray. Yeah, you got to watch. You don't want to go to sleep at the wheel. You got to watch. You don't want to get caught up in the hoopla. Oh, get it done in 21. Yeah, you have the power to get it done in 21, but you got to watch what's going on.
Your attitude is going to determine your altitude. It will determine how high or how low you go. Well, Joel, I've always been kind of negative, critical, condescending. That's just who I am. No, that's who you're choosing to be. That's not who you are. That may be how you were raised, but that's not how you have to stay. Try being kind, friendly, good-natured. You'll not only enjoy life more, but you'll go further.
So forget what can't be changed and focus on the future. Until you learn to do this, you're going to be unhappy much of your life. Because you hold on to the habits, and you hold on to the hurts and the hang-ups, and you hold on to the grief and the guilt and the grudges, and that causes so much unhappiness in your life. You got to let it go.
Disappointment happens for a whole lot of different reasons. Yet I think the most basic way that we could define how a disappointment takes place is disappointment is birthed from unmet expectations. Just because you're facing a disappointment today doesn't mean that you have to live defeated. It doesn't have to let you believe that your whole entire destiny is delayed and will never ever be reached. No, life is going to have highs and lows, peaks and troughs.
So many people overlook this very simple quality. You don't have to figure it out. That's what freezes people. When you're trying to figure out your life all the way to the end, when you can't figure it out, it freezes you from trying it because you go, oh, well, I can't figure that out. Oh, I can't go over there because I don't know how. You don't have to know how. You have to ask, believe, and receive.
And sometimes we're discouraged over what we brought on ourselves. It's not the enemy, it's our attitude. The good news is, all you have to do is make an attitude adjustment. It's not complicated. You can't change other people. You can't change how you were raised. A lot in life we can't control. But one thing we can all control is our attitude.
And be vigilant, because it's a new place, a new strategy, stuff's going on. Some we're aware of, a lot of it we don't know. And we got to stay in fight mode. Why? You know why I have my pictures of my children there? It's not about, I'm 75. I know I got more yesterdays than tomorrows. I got to stay in fight mode. What? I'm going to finish strong.
Are you focusing all your energies? You have a limited amount of energy. You don't have unlimited energy. Since you don't have unlimited energy, I highly suggest you don't waste any of it on something that you can't change in the past. Why in the world would you give one more second of emotional energy to something that is never going to change? It's done, it's over, it's finished. Your past is past. You got to let it go.
When you're good-natured, friendly, opportunity will come your way. People want to do business with people that they like.
Maybe it's not some other person you're disappointed. Maybe it's yourself. This is something that I struggle with in quite a massive way. Is that usually most of my disappointments aren't because of other people. Most of my disappointments in life are because of me. tend to disappoint myself more than anybody else disappoints me. I tend to not live up to my own expectations, to my own standards, to my own values, and I find myself often beating myself up or talking down to myself, and I can find myself at times living in a cloud of disappointment that has nothing to do with anybody else. It has everything to do with the way that I look at myself.
It's a major key that most people shy away from. And this is not for everybody. This is not for the faint at heart. People who have no goals and no dreams and okay with living a small life, don't get anything done with the same mindset, the same relationships, the same vision, no direction, no purpose. They're okay with that.
Am I going to live this day negative, sour, seeing the wrong, chip on my shoulder, or am I going to live it in faith, positive, hopeful, seeing the best, being good to people? This is a choice that we have to make every day. If you're going to have a good attitude, you have to do it on purpose, because there will be all kinds of negative things that try to creep in. If you're not proactive, if you don't choose the right attitude, then the wrong attitude will show up.
Everything about this life has created a sense of urgency, and everybody has been scattered. And that's what I believe is happening right now. This is when survival instincts kicks in. This is when it's real. This is when it's about you, your survival instincts, and God.
Some people are born with extraordinary size, strength, speed, and talent, but without determination, that talent never flourishes. Because determination is what turns average men and women into winners.
It should take you years to get out of debt, years to accomplish your dream. In the natural, that's true. But when you come into one of these destiny moments, it's going to happen in a fraction of the time.
It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen this year. It's gotta happen this year. I can't have another year of chaos. I gotta get the breakthrough this year. I gotta change the culture. I have to change the circumstance. I can't fake the funk another year. I got to see some movement in my life. If I got a witness in the house, show some sign. This is my year to bring about transformative, substance, life-changing change.
If you could look back throughout the years, what you would discover is that mark by mark, you have been maturing. You have been growing. It's just been gradual. It's just been little by little. I know you're not where you want to be yet, but baby, you have come a long way. You're growing gradually. I'm growing gradually. It's little by little. I love the quote by J.R.R. Tolkien. He's the one who wrote The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and he says, little by little, one travels far.
No one is born a world champion, just like no one is born a brain surgeon. The successful do what they must, what they can to be the best, to be number one. For me, it was a 5-mile run at 5 a.m. in the morning. For you, maybe continue to be the leader in payroll and human resource industry. And these may be somewhat of a painful sacrifice, but it is this type of determination that just happens to build tremendous confidence. Confidence in knowing that most likely your competitors are not doing the same sacrifices. Determination gives you that, it gives you that mental edge.
The secret to change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but building the new you. Put all your energy, not fighting the old, but building the new you. What is it that you have to do in order to do that? Number one, self-awareness. See, at the end of the day, all of us are the same. The only thing that separates us are the choices we make, the habits that we embrace. And I realize you've got to sacrifice who you've been in 2020 You got to sacrifice whoever that person was. You got to let it go. You got to sacrifice that and put all of your time and energy on building the new you. And building the new you, in my particular case, is more discipline. In my particular case, monitoring myself and my progress, staying on top of it, watching, am I doing well? Am I moving in the direction where I want to move? To give up the things that will distract me from doing that, to make the sacrifice of some things that I enjoy doing, but I can't afford to do it because it's soaking up time, and time is life. Time is life.
Learn to work with the people who deserve it, not the people who need it. You must be like life itself. Respond to deserve, not to need. It doesn't say if you need, you will have a harvest. It doesn't say if you need a harvest, you'll have a harvest. It's not what it says. It says if you plant, chances are good you'll have a harvest. If you plant, you will reap. Not if you need, you will reap. So we must be like life itself. Respond to the people who deserve it by planting, by taking the first step. Even God himself says, if you move toward me, I'll move toward you. That's the condition. You move toward me, I'll move toward you, says the Almighty. When babies are born, they were not designed just to be carried. Babies were not born to be carried all their life. Someday you've got to try your legs. Someday you've got to try your wings. Someday you've got to try. Even if you fall down, you've got to try, because you can't just crawl around all your life. You can't be carried all your life.
These are chaotic times. These are chaotic times. Unpredictable, uncertain times. These are the kinds of times that all of our establishments and institutions are going through metamorphosis, and we're not sure where they're going.
I like to be the man I never was, that I never became. Well, every time I speak, I see this as such a sacred opportunity. And I'm so happy. Sometimes I think I'm dreaming, because when I look back on my life, and this Les Brown that you see was in bondage for so many years, didn't come out till late in my life. I had him under arrest. I was in bondage with fear. I wanted to do what I'm doing. And I thought about things I wanted to accomplish, and I held myself back because I was afraid to fail. I was afraid to make mistakes. I was afraid that I would embarrass myself. I was intimidated by people who had college degrees because I didn't have a college degree. And so I would think about the things I wanted to do, and then I would start thinking about the fact, Les, you can't do that. So that's what I told this guy in me. Les, you can't do that. You don't have a college education. Les, I hear what you're saying, but come on, be logical, be practical. Oh yes, I know people told you have a gift of gab, and you have a nice personality, and you're funny, and you make people feel good, and you make them laugh, but you become a speaker, speak for corporations, train and teach people, and motivate people to do something you've never done. You're not rich, you're not successful, you don't have any books, you don't have the resources, you don't know the people, you don't have the contacts. You can't do that, Les Brown. See, my heart said I can do that. And then I made a critical mistake. I asked how. The mind became operative. The mind came up front and said, Les Brown, I heard what your heart said, but I want to ask you, how will you do that? And so I went from my heart to my mind, and I tried to figure it out.
You're watching and you're so frustrated because you're looking around left and right and you're comparing your today to somebody else's, and you're going, but they're growing and they're flourishing. I don't know if that's really the case. I just wonder if every time you check in on them, all you're seeing is the marks on the pantry door. That you weren't there for the gradual growth. You weren't there for the little by little. And you're comparing your slow to their fast. and it's leaving you in a place that you are discouraged.
It's not knowing what to do. That's not the battle. It's not actually doing it. That's not the battle. It's the moment in between. It's the hesitation. Hesitation is the enemy. And in war, understanding where the enemy is allows you to defeat him. And this is where the enemy of action, the enemy of commitment, the enemy of change, that's where the enemy lies. It lies in the waiting. And all you have to do to win is overcome that moment, the waiting, the hesitation. All you have to do is go, move, take action. Get out of bed, get your feet on the ground, step into the gym, put down the donut, pick up the kettlebell. Do not hesitate, do not wait. Go forward. Go to war and win every single time.
Don't let the darkness fool you. Don't let the liars fool you. Don't let the haters fool you. Don't let the lack of resources fool you. You have already crossed over into a brand new day. If you're sitting beside somebody that's not hungry, move, because you can't have no dead weight around you right now. You're ready to go to the next level. You got to be ready to move. That's what's wrong with you now. You're carrying dead bodies. But I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I didn't know I would get this old and still be hungry. But don't let the gray hair fool you. It's gray, but I'm still hungry. I'm a boomer with millennial tendencies. Yeah, all the hungry people make some noise.
You have the ability to create and design the kind of life that you want. And in this place where we are right now, things have changed dramatically. And so you have to make a dramatic change in yourself in order to accomplish the things that you want. What does that look like? What is it you have to do? In my case, mine and my battle has been with cancer, 4th stage. That looks like intensifying my efforts and monitoring everything that I eat. It has to be organic. But my state of mind, keeping stress to a minimum. I don't play that. Anything that's unhealthy, anybody that's unhealthy for me, I cut off the relationship. I don't ask them, why did you do that? I cut it off. Why? It's my life. See, we got enough to deal with. When you got the coronavirus that has now mutated into another lethal form and easier to spread, that kind of tension and stress by itself is enough. So you're not given the luxury of accommodating toxic, negative people in your life if you want to live. And you have to put your foot down and say, I don't do drama. Don't come up here with that. I don't do drama. And you don't have to defend that. See, there is no duplicate for life. You only get one. And so you want to live it to the fullest. You want to have special moments. You want to have peace of mind. 47% of Americans can't get a good night's sleep. And I've been one of them. Bobby, you have to work at it.
Fear is telling you, don't try. I'll keep you safe. I'll save you from embarrassment. I'll save you from pain. You have to understand that fear is only loyal to who you used to be. But if I'm going to break this thing down for you, let me break it down like this. I'm going to tell you what you're really afraid of. You're scared of who you have to become in order to start living. Who do you have to become in order to get back into the water, in order to try? Who do you have to become in order to go back to school and try? Who do you have to become in order to want again? I'm asking you, what is it going to take for you to explore your potential in a bigger space? All that potential, all that energy in you is being trapped by fear and being restricted to explore a small space. That kind of pressure causes stress, and when you're stressed, your world shrinks. All of your energy repurposes itself to focus on your safety, on your time, and on whatever else looks like a threat in your environment. That sounds like surviving, not living. You're not a rock, so stop acting so hard and so inflexible about life. Stop using your fear to create rules that limit the scope of what life has to offer. It's easier said than done, I know, particularly when you've accepted fear as a lifestyle. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the sort of person who experiences more of what it's like to be a father? Or do you want to experience more of what the world has to offer? Do you want to start living out that dream you've been holding on to for years? Whoever you've decided to be, that's who your fear is fighting. So fight back. Fight back with a new mindset. Fight back with a new set of routines. Fight back with people who are moving the way you're moving, who are moving where you're moving, and who want more of what you want.
Make a conscious effort to look at and recruit people in your life that you know that have been good to you, that you need to deepen that relationship, that they bring out the best in you, they inspire you, they make you feel good about yourself, y'all have fun together. You want to reach out to those people and schedule some time to see each other virtually each week, where you have individual and collective goals that you're working on. When you upgrade your relationships, when you make it a point to consciously get toxic, negative, energy-draining people who have a propensity for creating drama out of your life. And I'm sure you've had the experience when somebody who created a whole lot of problems for you and something happened, and when it ended, you say, whoa, I had no idea. Do something that the future you will say, thank you for making that decision. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for taking your life in a new direction. That's what you want your future self to say. This will not be a new year unless you learn something this year that will have a dramatic impact on your life that you did not know last year, that will allow you to take care of yourself, that allow you to control your own personal economy, that allow you to call your own shots, that allow you to have peace of mind.
Dreams without goals remain dreams, just dreams, and ultimately fuel disappointment. Dreams without goals, yearly goals, life goals, monthly goals, hourly goals, minute by minute goals. Dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. Goals on the road to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency. You understand? Between goals and achievement are discipline and consistency.
Before you can be a painter who can paint what's beyond mere memory, you have to inculcate that discipline skill, and a lot of that is painful repetition and hard grinding work. It's the sacrifice of the present for the future. That's discipline as the precondition for freedom. But once you manage that, then things open up. And virtually everything you learn of value is like that's very, very, very difficult to learn to write. And there's arbitrary rules that you have to follow and bind yourself to. Disciplinary institutions, universities, are exactly that, is they're places of guidance, and they're places to encourage people to develop the discipline that's necessary to see beyond the discipline. I mean, that's why we have disciplines, right? I mean, the words aren't there by accident. You have to narrow yourself first, and then you can broaden outward. And so that's part of the process of maturation. That's part of the sacrifice of childhood.
What we have to understand about developing ourselves and getting better is that it doesn't take brilliance, and it doesn't take a lot of time, and it doesn't even take a lot of effort, but it must be intentional. The fact that you don't get better automatically, you only get better because you intentionally make a decision to get better. To develop yourself, you've got to get out of the intending world and get into the doing world. So if you want to develop yourself and you want to get better, just act on what you've already expressed that you want to do.
Right, the question becomes this: can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? Regardless of situation, regardless of circumstance, regardless of what happened, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna give everything I got to it because I'm working for something that's totally different. Can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? In other words, if you don't get what you thought you was gonna get, will you still be the same individual? If the situation don't turn out the way you thought it would turn out, will you still be the same individual? The quote says it: you judge the character of a man not by where he stands in times of comfort and convenience. You judge the character of a man by where he stands in times of challenge and controversies. Right? I'm talking concrete commitment. Right? Not that commitment, I'm gonna show up, I'll be there, coach. Yeah, I'll go to meetings. Yeah, I'm gonna go out, I might run hard 3 sprints. Not that, man. Not that cheap stuff, man. Not that counterfeit stuff. I'm talking concrete commitment. I'm talking a commitment that says, I am going to stay true to what I said I would do long after the mood that I've set it in has left. Right? Because when you're in them seats, it's easy to talk about what you're going to do. Right? But Mike Tyson said it. Everybody got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Right? People don't burn out in life because of what they do. People burn out because life makes them forget why they do it. Go back and do some soul searching and think about when you first started.
Many people give up on the 1-yard line, where if they have the determination just to keep on knocking. It's a funny thing about life. If you're home one day and someone is knocking on the door and you say, I don't want to be bothered today, and if that person just keep on knocking, say, can you believe that fool's still knocking? Pretty soon you say, what is it? What do you want? And that's how you've got to be about your dream. Some people, well, I guess ain't nobody home. I knocked on the door, but nobody came. I guess opportunity probably went out the back door. Oh, no. See, life is not just that simple. It's not that cut and dry. And that's why most people never realize their personal greatness, because they're casual about life. And when you're casual about life, you will end up a casualty.
Some of your thoughts and visions are so big and so outlandish and so powerful and amazing, you'll end up talking yourself out of that dream from saying, I can't afford that. Well, guess what? There's a lot of shit I can't afford. There's a lot of visions and dreams that I still can't afford. I came here to remind you that when people laugh at your visions and ideas, it's only because they don't have their own visions and ideas around what they're supposed to do with their life or their careers. People that don't have their own visions, they become vision killers. They don't have dreams for themselves. They don't have any hopes. They're hopeless. They're uninspired, unmotivated. They have no dreams. They have nothing that they're ambitious about. But I want to remind you to continue to dream and dream big. I have a habit of dreaming with my eyes open. I get very inspired by the things I see. I just wanted to remind you to dream and dream big. You have to be able to see what doesn't exist in order to be able to pull off or achieve what in most people's minds seems to be impossible. Only those that can see the invisible, being able to see what's not there. What is your vision? What is your idea? What was that God-sent dream? Only those that can see the invisible can do what seems to be impossible. You have to be relentless. You have to never let off the gas, never stop, never quit. Never allow anyone to talk you out of the dream, the vision, and ideas that God has sent you. And understand that for every level, there's another devil.